Video is to make some shelving for my garage. I've already got shelving in the garage already, as you can see there, and the sheet that I've got from Bunnings will allow me to create something like this that you see, and I am looking to make a shelf in that space over there that's just above the garage door runner there. And so what I've done is I've got this large sheet from Bunnings. It's a particle board, 16mm thick, and it's 1.2 by 2.4 meters long. And I've just sort of asked Bunnings to really cut it for me into 4.6, which is my shelf. And then the backboard is there as well, and also the piece that I'll use to cut the triangular supports. So that's what I'll be doing first, is really just getting the backboard up first, and then into that space over there. And then I'll cut the triangular supports, and I'll show you how that's done as well. And here are the supports that or the molding that I'll be using to give me this sort of finish that you can see there. So I've got the white molding in between the triangular pieces, and what's actually behind supporting the triangle is a French cut or French pleat cut that I'll show you how to do, and I'm using this pink piece here. So I got both of these from Bunnings, and they were 5.4 meters, so it works out to be much cheaper buying it that way than smaller pieces. So I've got the white molding, which is 42mm wide by 18mm thick, and this is a bolster for a staircase, I guess, and I'm using that for the piece at the back of my triangles to support it and give it that extra bit of strength. So that's the same thickness, so 42mm, and or same width, and height or thickness is 31. So it just gives me an extra bit to screw into, and I'll show how all that works as well when I get to cutting the triangular supports and fixing it all together. But essentially that is what it's going to look like, and you've got the screws on the back there that will secure it in place so it becomes nice and firm and strong to support the weight on the shelf. So I'll go off and start to cut, and I'll be back. Okay, so now I'm on to the triangular support. So what I've done is cut the length that I had into sort of rectangles with a length of 400mm. So that will support the shelf, which is 460mm, and a drop of 350. So I'm just gonna slice this into triangles, right angle triangles, and each one of these, and I only need these, 6 is more than enough for what I need, probably 5 is enough. So each one of these will create one support, and it's basically going to go across here now. So I put up the support, you can see there, the backboard. All right, so I've just put that in place now, and I've screwed it into the timber in the back to secure it in place. And so I did a bit of work there to just fit it around the garage door bracket. And so that's ready. And I guess once I've done this, I'll come back to you and show you how it all comes together. Okay, so here's the cuts I've just made. So I've made those diagonal cuts across the rectangular shape, and that gives me my triangles. And what you'll end up with is those two like that, And in between them, yeah, inside there we'll have our white molding supporting those two triangles. Just a bit of a tip in terms of cutting those triangles. What I did was I basically cut one first and then put that on my miter saw like that. And then to cut the next the next one was just a matter of lining it up to that like so. And then that gives you your nice diagonal right across. And that made life a lot easier. I did have to swap these over because the cut didn't go all the way through to the end. So I had to turn it over and do the cut on the other side. And having that support there made a huge difference in making sure the alignment was there as well. So that's a good tip for you if you're using a miter saw. Alternatively, hand saw it is equally as good, but obviously a bit longer. All right, so I'll get on to now putting on the molding onto the triangles, and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, so here is the white molding that I got from Bunnings, so the long piece. I've just put it on a table just to make things easier. And so I've picked up one of the triangle support, and you want to put it on obviously the larger side on its facing down, and that's the part that will have the molding showing as you look up onto the shelf. So all I've done is basically lined it up to the edge there, and just drew a line to show where the cut's going to go, and same on the other side. And so this piece here, the remainder here, we'll cut that to then go on the top here, onto that that side there, which will be where the shelf will sit onto. And the reason you're putting that there is to give something to screw into. So once the support's up against the back plate, you put the shelf on top, and then you just sort of screw the shelf into this triangle support, and that's the main reason you're having that there. So the important thing is to get this cut nice and flush, because that's what will be seen from sort of underneath the shelf. So it's good to get that nice and flush. It doesn't matter so much about this, but how you cut this one here, because you won't really see that. But you just want to get enough of this molding here just to be able to screw into it. And the other thing to also remember is that the back side, or the rectangular part that will sit up against the back plate, nothing goes on there just yet. And I'll show you what to do there to get that French pleat cut to really support it and take the weight, because that's the key part to this. So I'll show you that in a little while. Okay, so here is the cut that I've made. So you can see it's nice and snug against the edge there. And I've also numbered them because I've gone ahead and sort of cut for the other triangle brackets. So I basically used the first one as a template and basically cut the molding and numbered them as well, just to make life a little easier. And so for this one here, I'm gonna need to screw this on there, and then this piece here that basically comes off the end of this, I will be putting it here, as you can see, and leaving a bit of a gap at the end there, and that's for the final French pleat cut that I'll show you in a little while. So these are the two pieces that we need, and I'm just going to need to screw them in to secure both sides of the triangle particle boards together and give it that extra strength. And so that's what I'll do now, and I'll come back to you after I've done that. Okay, here is the finished product. So I've basically screwed them in both sides, and I did have to pre-drill holes because the molding boards will split if you try to screws in straight away without pre-drilling. So that's a bit of advice there. Make sure you pre-drill. Do one side at a time, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You probably could use nails, but I chose to use screws because I think they're make sure it's secure and they don't come out. So I had to use a pre-drill driver there, and then I use the impact driver to screw the screws in, and there's my screws there, and just use a Phillips screwdriver at the end just to finish them off, just to screw them in nice and tight. So now what we've got is this hollow end here, which I'm going to show you what to do with this next, and that's going to be what will sit up against the back plate. Yeah, up there. Okay, and I'll show you how that's all done in a few minutes. I might just go and start these other ones and get them ready, and then we'll talk about the back plate and how we get this French pleat cut put in here. Okay, now that I've cut and screwed everything together, so here are the supports, each one of mine. So mine I've had to make into a equal-sided triangle, and so it is just 45-degree angles that I needed to cut. And so here's one that I'm going to be working on right now. So I've used the 42 by 31 piece of timber, the bolster, and what I've done is really cut enough to go into this spot here. So this is what's going to go up against the wall plate, and so this I've cut at a 45-degree angle, so it sort of sits nicely in here. So there we go. So it sits in there nicely. Okay, and I just need to line this up so it sits right at the top. Doesn't matter, there's a little gap there, but so this is what's going to go. Part of it's going to go, this top part is going to be screwed onto here, and then the bottom part of this will go up onto the support board up there. Okay, so what you need to do is basically the angle you've got here, I mean, at least it needs to be at least 45, if not more, just to give you a bit of a wedge. So what you're going to do is going to cut about for me, it's 100 mil from there where I want to cut at this 45, and that will give me a nice snug fit. So this will be on the wall, this will be on the triangle bracket, and as you sort of slot it into the wall, it will just be nice and firm. It'll be like a wedge, and it'll hold it in place. You almost don't need any more screws, but I will be putting some screws in as well, just to give it that extra bit of support. So so just repeating that angle there at about 100 mil down, and I'll then screw the top part onto here, and I'll come back and show you how that looks. Okay, I've cut the bolster into the size I wanted, and just make sure the angle that you've cut is like this. Yeah, exactly the same as the bottom part, which I mentioned before. And then so what I'm going to do is basically screw this in, right? So the pointy part of the cut is on the outside, and the angle cut is on the inside. So it's going to screw this to both sides of the particle board, and then this piece here will get screwed from here into the back plate. And I'll show you how that's done afterwards. Okay, so I've now screwed the top part of the bolster onto my triangle support. I did make a little mistake on the first one. I cut it a little shorter than the others. So what that basically means is that I need to make sure I line these up accordingly based on that difference in the cut size there. So when I measure up on the backboard there where those go, I just need to make sure I line it up accordingly to the size. And I've also numbered them, so it just makes it easier just to know which one goes where. And I'm good to go now. I think I'll just need to now screw these into the wall this way. Yeah, so the angle is essentially pointing out, and you push that into the wall and screw it in, and then this should just slot straight into it and fit nice and snugly, and should be able to support itself just by that alone. But as I said before, look, I probably am gonna screw it onto the side here. So once I get it into the wall, I'll put 2 screws here on both sides, just to give it an extra bit of support. So I'll come back to you as soon as I've done that. Okay, so there is the fixture now up against the backing board, and all I need to do now is get the matching triangle support and slot it in like so, and there it is, it's in. And as I said before, I'll just put a couple of screws here, and that will give it that extra bit of support. And I'll just repeat the same exercise all the way along, making sure the measurements are the same, so the brackets are the right height all the way along. And then I'll be ready to put the shelf in. Okay, I've now got all the supports up, they're all lined up, and I've screwed them in nice and tight, and just got to continue putting those brackets in, and then I'll screw them into place, and then I'll be ready to put the shelf on top of that. So I'll show you that in a few minutes. Okay, I've now put all the brackets in and screwed them in nice and snug, and now ready to put the shelf on the top, and then screw that down, and pretty much done. Okay, all done. So here's the finished product. Got a bit more space to store some more Christmas decorations. So thanks for watching, and good luck.